Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Raphael's Insights. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I welcome you into this very special um, episode live. This live is specifically so you guys can get to know me, so we can hang out for a little bit. Because I feel like anytime that I get on live, anytime that I get on anything, it's always work, 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 work. But it's never kind of like stripping back, stripping down to like just, getting to know each other, getting to know me, talking to you guys. Instead of just working and working and working and working and pumping out answers for every as many people as I can. I did this last week. I think I did it on Instagram, and people really enjoyed it, and I had so much fun too. So it's I think it was you that gave me the idea, Jamie. That when you said it's like being on FaceTime, a lot of people are saying it was like being on FaceTime, but definitely definitely, I think you gave me the idea. Everyone who was saying it's like FaceTime gave me the idea. I was at Vanessa Maldonado because she said, "Hello, Raphael. Just joined your channel, and let me tell you, I love how you say button for button." Yeah, my accent sneaks in. Hola, hola, amigos y amigas. Bienvenidos a mi canal. Bienvenidos a un nuevo segmento como de conocerme. It always makes me so happy for 526. It always makes me so happy when predictions come true. Of course, I'm human. I make mistakes. Tengo todos los dones que tengo, pero también tengo el pensamiento de un humano, Like, I have all the gifts that I have, but I also have the same way of thinking as a human. It's like I make mistakes. Sometimes I second guess myself. Sometimes I trip myself. I trip over myself, but rarely, gracias a Dios que it's rarely, gracias a Dios que most of the time when I tell people their answers, it most of the time it comes true. And sometimes I stress out because sometimes you guys ask me some like scary questions, and I'm just kind of like stressing out. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be wrong. But I know that because of my gift, that whatever I say will eventually come true. But congratulations, 4526, to your daughter for that prediction to come true, and for the blessing that she's being blessed with. Congratulations to you and your family. Maida says, I love how real you are. You make it easy to watch your videos because you're so genuine. Don't change. I will never change. I've suffered a dark past. I had a dark past. I grew up a little bit. I think I've talked about it many times. I grew up poor. I had a tough childhood. I was very depressed. I was like, at one point I was suicidal. Like I've been through it. I've been through it all. I've been through it all. I've been through bullying. I've been through always being depressed. I was always left out. I've been through stuff that people shouldn't go through at that age. Like de todo me ha pasado, de todo. But I think, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything that I've been through, even though some stuff I would never wish for anybody else to go through. I'm grateful for everything that I've been through. You know that even one time I was walking on the street when I was in high school. I was walking in the street, and that day I was wearing a UCLA sweater, and it was like baggy. And I was walking in the street, and I had messed up my haircut, so I shaved bald. And I swear I thought I was gonna die that day because I was walking in the street in the middle of the night. Pero ¿quién me manda, verdad? ¿Quién me manda? ¿Quién me manda andar allá caminando como de vago, But I was walking in the street, and this like gangster cholo asked me that question, "Do you bang?" And I was kind of just like, "What the heck? Like, do I dress like a cholo? Like, I'm just wearing my sweater." And they pulled out a gun on me, and I will never forget that day when they pulled out the gun. I was just kind of like, "Oh my God, like I'm gonna die." I thought I was gonna die in that moment. But gracias a Dios que siempre me ha cuidado. Like, thank God that God has always taken care of me from the toughest of things that I've been through. I will even share this with you. I've fallen asleep. I don't drive. I don't drive, and it's not because I don't want to drive. My spouse normally drives me everywhere, but um, I've even fallen asleep twice on the freeway, you guys. And it was before I became spiritual. I fell asleep twice on the freeway and I crashed twice. And siempre me decía, something must be like really taking care of me. Like something must really be like taking care of me. Imagine falling asleep on the freeway and like I thought I was gonna die. I remember one time, it's not funny, but I remember one time I fell asleep and I hit the wall, and I must have hit the window so hard that all I remember is somebody knocked on my door, and somebody was knocking on my window and like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I remember I opened my eyes and I must have fainted. But yeah, de todo me ha pasado. Like everything from from when I was younger. My mom also had a moment where she had cancer. Um, so we went through that. Like you name it, yo creo que me ha pasado. I've been through it all, but yo creo que por algo like God, I think for whatever reason, God has put me through everything that He has put me through, and it's always made me stronger. It's always made me through. It's always made me the person that I am today, and I will never ever change what I've been through. Where am I from? I'm from California. That's where I grew up. Ana Allende, yo te quiero mucho, pero contéstame. I don't see your question. Have you have you ever encountered anyone with? You know what? I have a good story for you. Have you ever encountered anyone who wants to do bad to you because of your gift? Absolutely yes. Oh my God! You just reminded me of a story. Yo siempre tengo tantas historias, you know. So before I moved to Georgia, I was in uh I was in California, and I wasn't really like I was doing the social media thing, but I wasn't really like anywhere yet. I was just barely like I don't think I had even blown up on TikTok yet. I actually hadn't even gotten on TikTok because I used to say, "Oh, TikTok is weird," and then in the end, I downloaded it and I liked it. But I remember one day, this people moved in across the street from me, and one day this girl just knocked at our door, and we were confused. We were like, because we don't invite anybody over to our house except for our who were our only close friends, which were their names. Well, they're our only close friends, right? There was they we'll never forget them. Um, and those were the only people that would come over. Oh, actually, we had four close friends. They were married. Um, and those were the only four people that we would ever invite to our house. It was weird that somebody just randomly knocked at our door. Usually we would plan it when they would come over, right? And this girl knocks at our door, and it was around the time where I was still kind of like figuring everything out. It was kind of like it was still we were still dealing with that entity, the Hat Man. We were still dealing with the Hat Man, and it was a scary situation. If you've heard my story, I've told it multiple times, and tengo tantas historias because of the Hat Man. And it was around that time. So when she knocked on our door, I was kind of confused, and we invited her in. She said something about like she's a new neighbor and that she just wanted to she needed a ride because her husband was at work and she needed to take the kids somewhere, so she was just asking for a ride. And we're really good people. We try to help as many people as we can. We try to be there for as many people as we can, right? And so we said, yeah, we'll give you a ride. And we're sitting in the truck and we're driving. We're taking her wherever she was gonna go. And this girl, we're talking about, because somehow I always talk about spirituality. If I'm meant to talk to someone about spirituality, it always come up. And I think around that time, I just wanted to talk to somebody. I just wanted to tell someone about everything that was going on in my life. And I told her, I was like, oh, I'm very spiritual. And she was like, oh, I know. She's like, me too. And And I was telling her how, like, if when at night when we drive by, I always see like silhouettes standing at the windows. Sometimes they're dark shadows, or sometimes they're silhouettes of light. And usually when I look at windows at night in houses, I can see where there's dark energy, or where there's good energy, where there's good spirits, or where there's something demonic or entities, for even from looking from outside the house. And the girl was like, "Oh yeah, like, I used to be in a relationship, and the guy used to practice a lot of like spiritual things, and he was teaching me how to do that." It's like, but I never really learned. And I kind of like gave her like my trust. I kind of was like, okay, I okay, like like what do you mean you didn't know? Like I kind of just got it into a deeper conversation with her, and I kind of got buddy with her in that car, to the point when we dropped her off. When we dropped her off, I'm trying to remember if we dropped her off or we picked someone up. I don't remember exactly. But when we did all that, I remember we became buddy, and like she after that she started like trying to get close. And I think we picked someone up. I think we picked someone up because I remember that we came back, and she came into the house. And I remember, so we came back, she came into the house, and she was talking to me about how spiritual she was, and how she had an ex, and the ex used to practice dark things, and that she was scared, and that she's been seeking for someone to teach her, and kind of like this like weird story que inventó. And I remember I was looking at her and she was standing in my hallway, and I remember seeing how her light was really bright. It was expanding out of her, and she had the like her light. Normal people's light expands about this much. Spiritual people, gifted people, people who are born with gifts, their light expands further beyond, and that's how we know who's gifted and not. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, like this girl, there's a reason why this girl knocked. And I told her, I was like, there's a reason why you knock. And she said, yeah, there's a reason why I knocked. She says, I didn't know that anybody spiritual lived over here, but they had told me to come knock. They said, go knock on the guy that lives next door across the street. She said, so they told me. And I was like, who told you? And she said, they told me. She said that they knew you were spiritual, and that they wanted me to get close to you because you were going to help me. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, like, oh, let me look, like, yeah, like, I'll help you. I was like, you help me, I help you. And she said, yeah, we'll help each other. And I remember later on, like a few days later, she asked me to come over because she has something dark. And I told her like, oh, I do all this spiritual stuff. I'm very spiritual. I'm still kind of like getting the hang of it, but I know I'm very strong. And she said, oh, well, there's this entity that's like really messing with my family ever since I moved into this house. Can you come over and check it out? And I said, yeah, I'll come over and check it out. And I remember I walked into her home, and I felt like this heaviness, but I wasn't scared because I've already been dealing with the Hat Man, and I've already been suffering. I kind of already got the hang of all the scary stuff. And I always, since I was little, I would always experience stuff. So I went into the house, and I went upstairs, and I was like, and I got drawn to one of the rooms that wasn't being used. And I said, this thing is in this room. And she said, yeah, she's like, I can't go into that room. It's like so, there's a wall that blocks me from going into that room. And I said, oh really? Let me see. And I walked straight into the room, and she like screamed, she's like, no, don't go in there. And I was kind of like, why? And she was like, he's mad. He doesn't want you. He says to get out of that you shouldn't be near him, and that he hates you being near him. And I said, yeah, it's probably because my light, they don't like my light. And so I told her, I was like, she started bugging out. She started going like kind of like crazy. And I told her, I was like, you know what, calm down. Like, don't, like, she started freaking out after I did that. This thing got mad, I guess. And I told her, I was like, I know how to give light. Let me give you some light. And I grabbed her hands, and I gave her light. She put her palms like this, and I gave her light, and I prayed for her, and I was giving her light, how I give light like this with my hands. And she was like, oh, okay, I'm better. And then like a few days passed, and she kept like, and after that, I kind of didn't go over no more, because you know what? I felt like this weird sensation. And ya tenía mi madrina de luz, a woman that I met in Mexico, even though I've never been to Mexico. And there's this woman in Mexico who was guided to me, and she became my madrina de luz. She kind of became like, she told me, she's like, God sent me to you because he wants me to guide you as well as you, how you have your guides as spirits, you have me in the physical. And I said, oh, okay. And I told her, I was like, there's this girl that this and that. And she was like, oh, she's like that. She's like, she might be a light worker, so she might be a being of she might be a light worker, is what she said. Um, Send me a picture of her. Let me check her. And I sent her a picture, and I hadn't noticed it because I at that time I didn't know how to do that. The whole like looking. If I could show you the picture, I would. But it's kind of like I don't want to gain her attention. I don't want to like draw too much attention to her. But she sent me the picture back. She's like, you need to get away from this girl. This girl's trying to do something negative to you. It's like, look at how all the faces she had a bunch of faces around her head in the picture. And they were like clear as day. You could see all the faces surrounding her head. And she goes, she has a lot of demons attached to her. She said, you need to get away from her. She's not there to do any good to you. And I remember one day she continued to bug, and that's like after that I started getting away from that. I didn't talk to the husband. I didn't talk to them at all. I started kind of keeping my distance. And after that, she started bugging and bugging and bugging and bugging and trying to get my attention. And I didn't want to like pay attention to her. And one day she kind of like manipulated me, and she goes, oh, you know, they're guiding me to teach you how to see spirits. And at that point I was kind of still like learning, like it was still like the beginning of like my revelation and all that. Remember, I told you I went through a lot in those like 7 to 8 months before I like accepted everything. And this girl like tells me, she's like, oh, they want me to teach you how to do that. And I was kind of like, oh, well, I'm kind of interested. She said, I asked her, I was like, so what are we gonna do? And she goes, well, I'm gonna lay a white sheet on the floor, and we're gonna put 4 candles in each corner of the white sheet, and we're gonna sit in the middle of the sheet. And that's how they taught me how to see spirits. But then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, wait, she told me she couldn't see, that she never learned. So what's going on here? So I texted my madrina de luz, and I said, madrina, I was like, this girl's telling me to do this and that she wants to teach me how to see spirits and communicate with them. And she got mad at me, and she told me, she's like, no. She's like, Rafita, tú qué vas a estar haciendo esas cosas? She said, you need to be careful. She said, this girl is trying to steal your gifts from you. That's how they can take your gifts away from you. And I was like really like surprised. And after that, I never talked to her again. I kind of ignored her, and she would not stop bugging me. Eventually she left me alone, but I think she probably got the hang of it, and she kind of looked really bothered. But yeah, there's been people that have been trying to abuse and do bad things because of my gifts. Long story, but kind of Linda. No, it was Cristina Hernandez sparked that story. What's the weirdest thing that I've experienced is someone trying to steal my gift. The scariest thing that I've experienced is living with someone who is dealing with an entity, a demon like the Hat Man. Bestie, so Linda Santos says, Bestie, I could never, that's so scary. I know, Bestie, it's definitely scary. There's so many different things that I've been through, but por algo, you know, I always say, there was a reason why I had to go through, there was a reason why me specifically had to go through everything that I did. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for tuning in, Christina. How does someone, Kevin Banda, how does someone further develop their spiritual gift? So once you know you have a spiritual gift, right? You have to follow your intuition. So I knew that I can. So this is a little story. I mean, I knew that I could heal people with my energy, with my hands, right? But little by little, I started discovering new things. It's like if I go like this and I put my hands out, I can feel the entire universe. It's like I can feel everything at the same time. And it was like no one taught me that. Maybe my I could say maybe because sometimes when the angels that come for me and they take me to their dimension to teach me things, not everything do I remember when I was there. Sometimes even though I don't remember, I still learn new things, and I trust in all that. So one day I just started sticking my hands out, and I just started feeling how I could feel everything at the same time. And I was like, whoa. But you just kind of follow your intuition. You kind of let your intuition open your gift. It takes a lot of meditation, because I meditate. takes a lot of meditation and a lot of trusting yourself, not doubting yourself, kind of rolling with whatever you feel. When you're gifted, you can't be wrong. But one thing that I can recommend you to do is for you to get yourself a candle like this, right? A good sized candle. You're going to put it on a plate and you're going to meditate for at least 5 minutes every day. And all you're going to do is you're going to turn on some incense. You're going to spray with some sort of a spiritual spray bottle, whether it's Florida water, Siete Machos, the spiritual spray bottles that I have, any sort of spiritual spray bottle, doesn't matter what, cualquier loción. And you're going to spray the entire room and you're going to light this candle and you're just going to stare at the flame. And all you're going to do is just stare at the flame and try to meditate. And all you're going to do is just look at the flame and just calm your mind. Don't think about anything. And that's a good way to meditate. That's a good way to stimulate your third eye. Another way is meditating, just closing your eyes and just listening to meditation music. I myself prefer to meditate without meditation music or without some sort of meditation guidance. I like to meditate in my own way. I like to just turn on a white candle and just close my eyes and just meditate and just let my mind just flow wherever it wants to flow. And I kind of just let my mind do whatever it wants to do. I don't necessarily force it to do something. I don't try to look into another world or anything like that. I just let it do whatever it wants to do. Whatever thoughts come to mind, whatever I hear, whatever happens. But a lot of meditation is one way that you can develop your spiritual gifts. And even one more thing, you can, when you go to sleep at night, right before you go to sleep, you can ask your guardians, your guides to teach you things. You would say, me myself at night, I would do that. I think that's one thing that I would do in the very beginning. When I would go to sleep, I would say, I ask my esoteric masters, my guides, my guardians to teach me how to do this, to teach me how to see spirits, to teach me how to control this, how to be, and what do I need to do. Like I would always talk to them before bed. And when you're talking to your spirits or when you're talking to an entity, because you'll feel the room get heavy and uncomfortable. So definitely be aware of that. Definitely, I wouldn't recommend just for you to be just randomly start talking to a spirit if you're not professional, if you don't know how to protect yourself, and if you don't know how to cleanse the space. And sage is not necessarily cleansing the space. Sage is, so when you do spiritual works, everything se presta a las energías, like you borrow energies from each spiritual work, right? So when you do a candle work, right, let's say this is a candle right here. The energy of the candle is going to act as a prayer. Like whatever prayer you tell the candle to pray, it'll continuously pray that for as long as it burns, right? The ingredients that you put in it, rosemary has the gift of healing, the gift of cleansing, the gift of purification. Lavender has the gift of calming, of purifying, of eliminating negative energies. So you start putting those energies in there and you start borrowing those energies from different energies, and it makes that work strong and it makes that work. Now, sage, when you just sage a room, yeah, it's going to work temporarily, but does it really cleanse the room? What I would do in that case, I would if I were to use sage, I would use a lime and I would put it in my pocket, and I would also have a spray bottle, a spiritual spray bottle, and I would walk around praying, en nombre de Dios Padre, Dios Hijo, Espíritu Santo. I command everything that's here. Like I tell it, leave my space. You don't belong here. ¿Quién como Dios Santo? ¿Quién como Dios Santo? ¿Quién como Dios Santo? ¿Quién como Dios Cristo? ¿Quién contra Dios Cristo? ¿Quién contra Dios Cristo? ¿Quién contra Dios Cristo? Those are two very, very powerful phrases that you can use whenever you feel something negative, and it'll leave like this, and I promise you it'll leave like this. It won't have power against those words. It's like a weapon that God gave me in the very beginning. It was a weapon that I used against the Hat Man whenever it was present. And it definitely saved my life many times. It's a very powerful phrase. ¿Quién como Dios Santo? ¿Quién como Dios Santo? ¿Quién como Dios Santo? ¿Quién como Dios Santo? ¿Y quién contra Dios Cristo? ¿Quién contra Dios Cristo? ¿Quién contra Dios Cristo? That phrase is very powerful. But I would walk around and the lime in my pocket, well, if anything falls towards me and anything tries to attack me, the lime will catch it, and I will purify that room. And then whatever I caught in my lime, I will take it out with either a glove or a bag, and then I would get rid of that lime, whether I throw it away or I do something else to it, bury it, whatever I do to it. Now that's an effective cleanse, not just saging a room. Can I send you guys light? I can definitely finish the video with a healing. Really, my my voice calms your baby down. That's I've never heard that one, but thank you. What is it in English? I don't remember what I said in that you want to know in English. Can they hear what you were saying in your head, like the spirits? Yes. I don't necessarily have to talk to my spirits like this. You could say it in your head, and they'll hear it very clearly. For instance, if I ask a question, even with this, if I ask a question, I don't have to say it out loud. I could just say it in my head. Let's say, see, I said in my head, I said, give me a card that represents love. The Ace of Cups is the card of love, true love. Like I don't have to say anything out loud. Spirits do not have a voice. Spirits, the voice comes from I'll say it right now, Lydia. Spirits do not have a voice. That's why a lot of people hear them in their head. That's why a lot of people hear ringing. That's why a lot of people see them in dreams, see them in visions, because that's how they communicate. There's no real voice to them. Although they can manifest a voice, they can definitely manifest a voice. But their physical, there's the spiritual being is no voice. It's all feeling. That's why when spiritualists use like their gifts of feeling, seeing, it's like nothing is really necessarily hearing them speak physically. Jamie Relas, that's a good sign. Remember that the hummingbird brings abundance, prosperity, peace. I'm trying to translate it. So, and if I translate it in English, I would say more of like, I don't know. I would say more like who against God Christ, or who against Christ God. I think God Christ sounds better. So I would say who against God Christ, who against God Christ, who against God Christ, and the other one would be more of like who against. I would say who against my Father Almighty, who against my Father Almighty, who against my Father Almighty. That's funny. That makes me feel good. That's the first time someone has said that, Cassandra. Brianna, several hummingbirds and palomas live outside every home I have lived. That's a blessing. You have good spirits around you, and they're constantly protecting you. Wild Melody says, when someone doesn't want to ever pick you for a reading, does it mean something bad is on you? I would say yes, because from my experience, every time that I choose someone who hasn't been chosen, or that I do a reading, like sometimes even with my private readings, there'll be like complications where they have to reschedule, and then once they reschedule, it's like we can't get in the same page. Some things keep coming up for me, some things coming up for them, and then I sit down with them finally and I start doing a reading for them. See, your entities are trying to choke me. And I started doing a reading for them, and a lot of like demons and hexes and curses and entities and a lot of negative energy comes out, destruction. So yeah, usually it means that those are called trabas. There's something negative that doesn't want you to find your answers. Amelia Fernández, hola Rafael, ¿cuál fue tu primera visión? Yo creo que la primera visión que tuve, pues desde chiquito tuve visiones, la verdad, pero nomás que yo no sabía qué era, porque mi familia decía que eso no existía, que la brujería, lo espiritualismo no existía, nomás Dios, y nosotros siempre estábamos metidos bien mucho a la iglesia, y nunca creímos en eso, aunque sabíamos que existía. Mi mamá siempre dice, existe, pero no tenemos que creer. Pero yo creo que desde chiquito ha tenido visiones, porque me acuerdo que cuando estaba chiquito yo soñaba el futuro y de repente pasaba y siempre me quedaba pensando, ¿cómo pasó mi sueño? Y yo desde chiquito, como unos 5 años, 6, 7 años, ya también lo pensaba antes. Y decía, ¿cómo pasó eso si lo acabé de soñar y pasó? Pero yo creo que la visión que yo tuve, que fue mi primera después de mi revelación, fue la luna, cuando vi la luna vi una luna. Yo creo que hasta pueden ir a ver. No, ya me acordé. No, esa fue la siguiente. La primera visión que tuve fue cuando me estaba bañando, que me pegó así de fuerte, que me estaba bañando y de repente vi que se estaba quemando algo y me gritaba la gente, ayuda, ayuda, ayuda. Y cuando vi los ojos dije, ¿qué fue eso? Y luego me entró el pensamiento California, que si me dicen California se va a quemar. Y estaba pensando, ¿cómo que California se va a quemar? Y a ese momento todavía estaba como que no, sí. Pero yo creo que, ¿sabes qué? Ya ni me acuerdo. Porque yo creo que también tuve, ya antes también, nomás que no los decía. Porque yo me acuerdo que me decían, no puedes decir esto, no puedes platicar esto. Ya ni me acuerdo, la verdad, tantas cosas que veo. Yo creo que esa fue una de las primeras visiones que yo dije. La primera visión que yo tuve que dije fue esa, la del fuego. Pero yo me acuerdo antes que les decía a la gente, oh, va a temblar, y que temblaba, o les decía una visión que tuve de uno de mis hermanos, le dije que iba a tener problemas por algo, ¿verdad? Y ya hasta ahorita se está viendo todo lo que le había dicho. Pero no me acuerdo la verdad cuál fue mi primera visión. Tuve muchas desde chiquito hasta, y luego ya después de que me pasó la revelación, eso, que todo lo que pasó, pues se me vino de mucho. Do the spirits, 4/5/26, do the spirits tell you what to say to us, for example, in the tarot cards readings? I think so. I would say yes, in a way. Yo creo que la respuesta to that, I think the answer to that would be yes, in a way, because whenever I sit down to do anything spiritual, it's like I'm a completely different person. Like at work, I'm very quiet. I keep to myself. I don't talk. Even if I try to talk spiritually with people, como que no me dejan. But when I sit down here and I start looking at my cards, it's like everything just starts flowing like that. It's just like clicking. Like I could pull out a card and right away the moon comes out, and right away something's gonna happen on the full moon. Something this and that, Like I could pull out a card and like luego como que hay un dicho, yo creo que de un profeta from the Bible, a prophet from the Bible, that like a story where this person asks him like, oh, you're a prophet. Can you give me an answer to this? And the prophet responds with, I can't give you the answer, but God will speak through me. And I think that's what happens when I do this. God speaks through me. The spirits speak through me. angels speak through me. All the messages that I have, they all speak through me. It's like I am here to be that connection with God physically. Raphael, every time I pray at night, for some reason, I always get these scary demon like images in my head. I'm not sure if it's just me. It's not just you, or it's really something negative bothering me. Chantel, it's not just you. When you pray and you have negative entities popping into your head or feelings, it's because there's something there that does not want you to pray, because there's something there that does not like the energy that that's bringing into your space. So it's not just you. Hi, Elisa Cardenas. What does ringing in your ear mean? There's two different kind. So ringing in your ear. So ringing in your ear is two different things. Ringing in your ear, you have the high pitch and then you have the low pitch. So the high pitch ringing, what I always represent it as is that's the angel's voice. It's like Tinkerbell, right? It's like you hear that ringing. It's like almost like if Tinkerbell's talking, right? But I represent it. For me, it represents like a doorbell that's being knocked. It's like the spirits, God, the angels, the divine is knocking my doorbell. It's like they're ringing my doorbell, and I just hear ring, ring, ring. And it's not till I close my eyes or I pay attention to them that I start hearing them, or I start understanding what they're saying. But the ringing in your ears, it's always a divine spirit. It's always something more divine, more made up of light. When you hear low ringing, it's something dark, a dark entity. Like if someone enters a room and you hear low ringing, they have something negative attached to them, or it's warning you like, oh, this person is negative. Watch out for them. Or when you all of a sudden your ear just rings really low out of nowhere, there's something negative that just entered your space. Can dogs sense something? Yes. Deborah Lopez, dogs can sense things. Around that time when I had my German Shepherd, which I gave to my parents because I couldn't have with me. Around that time, my German Shepherd protected me one time from the Hat Man. And let me tell you the fear my poor dog had. My dog was shaking. He looked like he had just seen the devil himself, and he was crying. First, he tried to protect me. And then afterwards, he was shaking and he was so scared that I literally had to sit down and I had to cuddle him. And I had to tell him like, hey, calm down. Like, it's okay. He's gone. And he was like shaking. And it looked like he literally saw the devil himself. Jennifer Luna, if you Google the Hat Man, you'll see a lot of pictures of people who've seen him all over the world. The Hat Man is a demonic entity. So the third eye, of course, Brie Amesco, I could talk about the third eye, but the Hat Man is a demonic entity that he will approach you in many different forms. But the main form that people see him in is with a top hat, red glowing eyes, and like a dark, tall silhouette. I wouldn't recommend you to get that image into your head, because he is not someone to play with. He is very evil. And he torments people all over the world. So you can know how the way I see him is that's the devil himself, because I've seen him. That's just his image. His real face is scarier than that. How can you know if you have a gift? Well, we all have intuition. We all definitely have intuition. But if you're gifted, you will always figure it out. You'll always figure it out. If you feel like you belong in the spiritual, you're getting into the spiritual, there's a reason. Nothing happens. There's no coincidences in spirituality. Can meditation open doors to evilness or no? No, and yes. And it's like a fine line, because if you already have something negative in your home, it'll abuse that time, that special time that you have. But if your home is cleansed and it's very, very, very safe, you don't have anything attached to you, no, there shouldn't be any reason why something negative approaches you. But if you are doing this and there's already something negative in the home, it'll take advantage. Are animal souls different from human souls? No. I actually have an answer to that question. I I don't think I'm supposed to say it because they won't let me. I can't say it. They won't let me. But I have an answer to that question. Something that I know about them. Deborah Lopez, what about when you see owls? My dad thinks it's a warning that something bad is going to happen. Deborah Lopez, owls are not, people see them as signs of wisdom, but no. Owls don't really come to you because they're telling you it's a sign of wisdom. No. Owls will come to you as a sign of the energy of death, rapture. Owls will represent themselves energy-wise as death itself. Is it something negative that's going to happen? That's usually what they're there to do. I know people say, "Oh, owls represent wisdom and all." Yeah, they do represent that, but they don't come to you to tell you, "Oh, there's wisdom around the corner." Oh, there's this. No, they come to you to tell you. They come to you to tell you that something bad is going to happen and that you need to prevent it. But owl's energy represents this. Esther Maldonado, your mom's house has a palm tree with owls who nest there. See, now that's different. They live there. That's where they made their home. They were already there. So it's not like it just flew over your house or it just showed up out of nowhere. They have a nest there, so that's different. Miss Cool Cats, I've also smelled like burnt plastic. Is that bad? The answer is, I would say when you smell something negative, when you smell something like nasty, usually it represents something bad. But burnt plastic depends. I would have to look to see what it is. But if it smells bad, it's usually there's something negative there. Do I believe in twin flames? See, twin flames is something that I kind of don't like to get into because it's like it confuses people whether it's like the twin flame is like true love, is it not true love? Like so that's why I don't like getting into that. But do I believe in that there's someone that's meant for you? Yes. Do you believe in reincarnation? I actually have an answer for that. Why are babies born crying? Babies are born crying because, so two questions. Why can't babies speak and why are babies born crying? The answer is because one, they still remember their past lives, and two, they know too much to be able to speak. I do believe in past lives because I've lived many. You guys, I am gonna have to get off. I'm gonna get on TikTok. I'm gonna try to get on TikTok. If not, we'll continue this on Instagram. Okay. But thank you guys so much for watching me. Thank you so much for listening to me. I told stories and todo lo que Mon has a 9-month-old baby. My voice is getting dry. Ya me cansé de tanto platicar, tanto perico. It was definitely my pleasure. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this little new segment to like get to know me and ask me questions like this. Aside from like questions from the future. Thank you so much for everything. We'll continue it. I'm gonna try to get on TikTok, but most of the time TikTok won't let me get on because my internet is like trash, to tell you the truth. So I'll try to get on TikTok. You know, I'll see you on Instagram, okay? So love you guys. And I'll see you guys for the super chat tomorrow. Remember, the super chat is directed for those who participate on the super chat. Thank you so much. I still have to check you. I think Jamie realized. I think I still have to check you. I haven't forgotten. Just ayer me quedé dormido. Buenas noches. If you follow me to Instagram, well, to TikTok or Instagram, ahí los veo. I know, Janelli, I have so many stories. Sometimes me pongo a pensar, ¿de dónde saqué tanta historia, you know? But I'll see you guys next time. You guys have a good night. Bye. Is there going to be a FaceTime live with me tomorrow? I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do that, but we'll figure it out tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? Bye. I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything.